Hello there my fellow holotable heroes and welcome to another Conquest video guide. It's that time again where we have a brand new set of Conquests starting on Monday, and as always I updated my website with the Feats guide, daily plan and recommended data disks. So that's what I'll be talking through today's video. Also obviously as the Conquest will be going on, I'll be filling up these guys with video guides for specific sectors, so you can come back anytime. Check out my website, there'll be a link in the description below whenever you need any ideas what teams to use for what feats. Then obviously I do have my daily plan as always that you can follow along if you want to, just to help you out a little bit, plan what type of battles and how many a day you need to do to comfortably get that max grade. So for the first week it's kind of aimed to do 3 refreshes a day, and for the last week then maybe like 1 refresh a day on average, just to be hopefully more efficient with the feats. Now for this one, for the actual daily plan, it will be skipping momentum and Dr. Alpha feat, as well as Tuscan, so just kind of omitted maybe those feats that are slightly harder to achieve. Now in total, as previously, you can skip up to 34 key cards, so as you're planning your feats, something to bear in mind. Okay, let's look at the recommended data disks. Now, great news, because we have the return of Amplify Agony, Thermal Exhaust, and as well Volatile Accelerated data disks, Ability Block. So we'll be able to go back to those, two broken data disk sets that we used to run a few months ago. So going in 30-second data disk set that relies on 2 or even 3 Amplify Agony data disks, Volatile Accelerator and Ability Exhaust. With this data disk set, you can basically defeat pretty much all enemies in 30 seconds or less. So it's a very powerful data disk set where you have to quickly go through. Whereas, all the 45 then the defense data disk set we had for the past 6 conquests, like battle sometimes took like 3-4 minutes because we didn't really have data disks to juice up our offense. Whereas here, we'll be blitzing through. And then the other one, of course, is self-destruct data disk set that relies on 3, 4, even 5 caustic emissions data disk set and thermal exhaust. So enemies get a turn, they get a bunch of thermal detonators stacked on them, and then they self-destruct in a couple of turns. So that's why I feel like the upcoming 3 conquest runs with this data disk set will be a lot more fun. They will take less time and lots of feats will be easier to achieve. However, it does look like they're slightly putting slightly harder bosses this time than previously. We even have Galactic Legend on defense, Ray as well, I think in Sector 5. Anyway, we'll get to it. Definitely to kind of offset, having us actually better data disk set. So there you go, recommended data disk. If you need a reminder, again, hop on my website. I've got some ideas here what data disks to collect while you're playing through your conquest. And let's get to the main portion of the video, which is the feats guide. So obviously we'll go through global, sector 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, just showing you some of the team recommendations there that will hopefully help you along the way. So let's start off with the global feats. Obviously we have the return, as always, Grand Victory, where you have to defeat 500 enemies, so this you don't have to pay attention, it will just happen. Now, unaligned force users, this one might be difficult if you don't have Galactic Legend Ray or Kylo or Inquisitors. Now, we do have these brand new now unaligned force users with Seer and Cal, but if you're like me, they're nowhere near really useful yet. But who knows, with some maybe crazy data disk comp, we'll be able to cheese something with them as well. We'll have to wait and see for testing, but for now, from the 3 teams that we know that work are these, so Inquisitors. Then you got, obviously, if you did farm Galactic Legend Ray, all 3 Rays are aligned for users. And obviously you can just, throw in Ben or Commander Ahsoka Tano as well, or any other light side unaligned force user. I believe Luke and Falcon Ahsoka there as well will be nice there. And then, of course, if you farmed Kylo, the 3 Kylos, they're all unaligned force users. And then as well, like Maul, Mara, they're also probably good there. Otherwise, you've got other dark side there as well. Obviously, Tassage and probably somebody I'm forgetting as well. But anyways, these are the 3 core unaligned force user teams. So you have to win 40 battles with them. And up next, we got the Night Sister trio, where you have to win 40 battles with Marin, Talzin, and Daka. Now Marin, I think even at low star it doesn't matter, because Daka can just keep reviving her, and even if she dies off, it doesn't matter. You just have to start the battle with these 3, And Night Sisters overall, especially with this data, this set, with Amplify Agony, things like that, once Thousand gets a turn, she does the AoE and basically one-shots, you know, entire team. So definitely Night Sisters will work really well with Conin 32nd data disc set. So I think that shouldn't be too difficult. Now this is the one that probably I'll be skipping, and my daily plan is skipping as well. You have to win 20 battles with a full squad of Tuscans. Again, it depends how these data discs will interact with, you know, Gear 9 Chieftain, Gear 10 Warrior that I have at 3 stars. The other guys are relics, so I'll have to again wait and see to see, you know, what you can actually defeat with these guys. But I would imagine you have all of them relicked up, it's going to be probably an easy feat for you to achieve. Although I'm a bit curious here, because usually these ones will be win 40 battles. So I'm not sure this is a mistake or not, so we'll have to wait and see to confirm it. So up next, we've got what I call Kalair feat, where you have to defeat 100 enemies with Kal or Seer Junda. Now this is similar to like other feats that we had before. Mostly both of them, Seer and Kal, are light side. So if you do have Master Luke, shouldn't be too difficult, because then like everybody just call Kal for an assist with Inherited Teachings, and you know he can do all the damage. We'll have to wait and see if there again is some other way to, you know, take use of Kal and Seer, depending once we test them with data this set. But for now, the default team, I guess, here could be Master Luke. We do have the return of BT Trip feat, where you have to win 20 battles with them in your squad. Now, because we have the return of the Gone in 30 Seconds data this set, obviously Beskar Mando, Han and Chewie, these three plus any two will burn through most enemies on any sector, so I think I'll be utilizing them a lot to carry BT and their trip as well to the victory. And again, the return of the Booming Voice and massively overpowered feats as well from previous run of Conquest. So we'll just try the same teams as we had before. We'll see with these new data this sets they will still perform well. Now let's move on to the Sector 1 feats. We have the return of the Blind feat. You have to attempt to blink blind 60 times. Now previously obviously we had Seed feats, so you know I did include like Safe Team as well with Malgus to blind blind and stuff like that, but now we have Jedi feat here in Sector 1, so kind of putting together Jedi team, and then obviously here as well some sort of CLS team with 3PO and Chewie, or you can again kind of cheese Master Luke similar like you would with Kal, where you just keep calling 3PO and Chewie to assist, and then he can do blind on his special ability, and then of course on his basic he's applying evasion down. That's also one of the feats here in Sector 1, so a bit of an overlap there. Again, as mentioned before, we have to defeat 50 enemies with Jedi, so again it's a sort of Jedi team with Luke that can apply blind. And then obviously if you do have Kenobi, if you do have Master Luke, you could even throw in a trip there in BT1 for that feat as well, so see how that works. So definitely we can have, you know, we can put together 3 Jedi teams that can do some damage depending obviously of what you have. And we've got evasion down. This is a very straightforward one. The easiest thing, like there are multiple ways to do it, but the easiest thing is because we have blind here in Sector 1, just utilize 3PO and Chewie here, he's basic for that. In this team I also included BB-8 actually, not a rebel, because guess what, yeah, we have the return of the Secret Intel feat as well. So BB-8 is the only unit in the game that can apply Secret Intel. So once he starts off with his wiggle move, he gains Secret Intel, and then anytime one of the allies also use a special ability while BB-8 has Secret Intel, they'll get it as well. As long as BB-8 gets a turn, it will spread like wildfire, so hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult. Or another one, you could do some sort of Ray droid team as well, no, depending on what you have. In terms of the mini-boss battle, we are battling Darth Vader as the mini-boss. And the first one is you have to win with Hermit Yoda surviving. Some sort of Jedi team, we'll have to again wait and see. I do maybe like Jedi Revan, because then your Jedi start with tenacity up, so just in case they will really jack up the speed on Darth Vader, that he goes first, does his Force Crush, then you will be then resisting all those damage over times. And then Hoki Religions, so obviously you're not allowed to use Jedi, Sith or unaligned Force users. I think the General Grievous or maybe even Imperial Troopers could work here. The reason why I went with General Grievous, because again we got BB-8 there with the droid, synergy and Secret Intel. For the final boss in Sector 1, we have to win with T3, M4 surviving, and we are battling Bosk Bounty Hunters. Again, trying to do some sort of Ray here droid team, you know, for the Secret Intel, and T3 is a light side droid, so lots of synergies with these. Obviously, if you do have a sortie leveled up, she could be a good option as well in place of Rey leadership. And then obviously win without GLs, because you know we do have these Jedi feet here and evasion down and blind. You could just throw in a Jedi team as well to defeat Bosk. So this is Sector 1. So far I think pretty straightforward. Let's hop on to the Sector 2. We have the evasion feat. We have to evade at least 100 attacks in Battle 1. Now there are multiple ways you can do this. Now the reason I kind of put Darth Maul there and Palpatine, because we have health still up feat as well. So Maul lead, if you do have Zayt on him, is great for these evasion feat, because you get a lot of evasion. And then obviously you can also do Padme here with Galactic Republic. We do also have no attackers feat here. So just kind of put non-attacking Padme team. That's why, you know, you will not see Anakin or Ahsoka Tano here, or the other Ahsoka, because they're attackers. But Master Yoda luckily is support. He can spread the foresight and, you know, help you evade a couple of attacks here as well. Same thing, we have a Jedi without attackers, so similar like Padme, just let Yoda's and General Kenobi spread foresight on the team. Then obviously we do have Bad Batch as well, if you do want to go down that route, because Tech, he will give everybody their foresight, so you can then evade. And finally, yes, the Grand Inquisitors, 7th Sister, she can give foresight to everybody, and then you can evade. And on top of it all, if you do have these guys, obviously you have the global feats as well done for the unaligned force user at the same time. So definitely, while we do not have so many like these specific feats for Inquisitors, because of the whole unaligned force user global feat, you still kind of need them, you know, to make this an easy experience. Then we got Plague, so the only way to do Plague is obviously with Talzin or Marin, so we got a Talzin lead, just, you know, without Marin or with Marin. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Definitely, you know, if we can make it work something with, you know, 3-star low gear Marin, it would be good, because then you can at the same time also be knocking out their defeat for Night Sisters trio. Also, all of these Night Sisters, none of them are attackers. That's why I didn't include Spirit, but I included Talia in this particular lineup. And then we got health still up. This is why obviously Pulp lead there with a bunch of non-attacker Sith. You got lots of health still there, or you could do some sort of unaligned force user team and let Visas use special ability to give health still up to your guys. So you're also knocking out a global feat at the same time. As mentioned, we've got already no attackers, so kind of a repetition of the teams I showed you. Padme, Basti without attackers, Sith without attackers, and Night Sister without attackers. Obviously, plenty of ways to do this. It's just trying to include teams that cover some of the other feats here in Sector 2, as well as global feats. And look at the mini boss feats. So we are battling versus Beskar Mando's Scoundrel team, and we have to have Sana surviving. Now, depending obviously how gear up your Sana is, I'm actually gearing my up, trying to unlock Dr. Afra. So I think she's gear 12 at the moment. So it depends, obviously. We'll have to wait and see how these guys will be. But remember, Beskar Mando, he can ignore taunt with his whistling birds. But as long as we keep him under control, we should be good. So definitely we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. And then Hoki Religions, again, this is a good team with the troopers, because it doesn't include any attackers. So hopefully they should be able to blitz down these guys. And in terms of the final boss in Sector 2, you have to battle versus Darth Traya. Hopefully here it's going to be a straightforward thing. So we got two feats here, Aura and Cat surviving, and as well Hoki Religions. So I'm hoping that Aura lead bounty hunters here will just be able to do it, you know, in one battle, both feats. So hopefully that team, the Traya team there it will be facing, is not too jacked up. Let's look at the Sector 3 feats up next. So we got the Purge, so of course the Return of the Purge. The good thing about Purge is obviously it can be cheesed even with, as we know from before, like we were doing it with Gear 8 Inquisitors. If you do that sort of Pulp Malak or Master Luke and Watt combo here, and you know, even with, I remember when my Inquisitor used to be Gear 8, they could still, you know, cheese Purge. But obviously if you do have full squad of Inquisitors, you will benefit towards the global feat of unaligned force users. Then we got the droid feat, so we have to defeat 50 enemies with droids again. Droids have really grown over time, so you can either do some sort of Rey here with the droids. Then of course we've got GG droid squad. Then if you do have Afra already unlocked, you can build the droid team around her. Or if you got Sortie as well, same thing, you know, similar like with Ray, you can put some sort of BB-8 team around her and, you know, you should be good to go. Because remember, Sortie, I remember even at gear 8 when we had gone on 30 seconds data this set, as soon as she gets a turn, boom, her AoE wipes out all the enemies. So definitely Sortie could be a good call for this feat. Moving on, we've got the momentum feat. This one, I'm not sure will I be attempting or not, because momentum 1000 times just by using Boba, a sign of Django, seems like a lot. We'll have to wait and see if actually we can get something done with a full squad of Tuscans actually. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, personally, I might be skipping this feat. We'll have to wait and see how many, because with Boba, even if you get like 100 a battle, which is probably, you know, quite a lot, you still have to do 10 battles just for momentum feats. So this might be worth skipping unless, you know, we can get something done with low gear Tuscans. And we got Foresight. Again, plenty of ways to gain Foresight, is not the only way. I'm just trying to do the teams that can do all the other feats. So if you do have Inquisitors, obviously you can get Unaligned Force User feat as well as Purge. Or if you've got obviously Ray here with the droids, IG-11, he's got an ability that gives you Foresight to everybody here, to all the droid and Scoundrel allies. Actually, BB-8, Ray give Foresight to themselves, and then R2, obviously with the smoke screen, has 1 Foresight per target. So it can help you with the droid kills as well as Foresight at the same time. In terms of mini-boss in Sector 3, we have to battle versus Palpatine and Boba, Sign of Django, plus Whole Killer Religion. So similar like in previous, you know, in previous sector. This could be done potentially all in one battle, again, depending on the modifiers, but while this is Palpatine, guess who is under Palpatine? Starkiller. So we'll have to wait and see if Beskar, Mando, Han and Chewie can carry this for us, as usually they do with the Amplify Agony data discs. And finally, we got final boss in Sector 3, it's General Grievous. Now this one, obviously, I won't be able to do, I do not have Alpha unlocked yet, probably still a couple of months away. But if you do, obviously, you can do probably all 2 feats in a single battle, because you do need GLs with Dr. Afra, and those are the 2 feats. But if you don't have Afra, then at least for the no GLs one, or maybe we could just throw in CLS or something. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, again, in terms of the modifiers and everything. So we're moving on to Sector 4, we have Ability Block feat. Again, plenty ways to do this, but because we do have Imperial Troopers, Imperial Trooper feat as well in this sector, obviously we'll be utilizing Imperial Troopers. Veers, his AoE can land ability blocks, and then with Inquisitors again, lots of ways. 8th Brother, 7th Sister, they've got a single target ability block, whereas Grand Inquisitor's got an AoE that applies ability block. And as well, making progress to add that Unaligned Force User. And then we've got Darth Maul again, this time not for evasion but for stealth, because we also have stealth feat in this one. And then you can just throw in all the Sith under him that do have ability blocks, like Vader, Bastila, Dooku and Talon. They all have ability blocks on their basics, so probably plenty of opportunity to gain stealth as well as ability blocks with this team. And finally, we've got Imperial Troopers, so we got 2 teams here you can kind of use. Probably Veers will be preferable for the ability blocks, but hey, you can also make Iden work with the Amplify Agony data discs. Actually, Iden works really well also. And then we got Rebels. We have to win 14 battles with a full squad of Rebels. So again, multiple ways to slice these Rebels, but the 2 core ones are CLS and Mon Mothma. Here obviously you want to throw in Old Ben probably, because he's got Mind Tricks, ability blocks again, right, on his ability there, and then throw in R2 maybe for stealth feat as well. And then here in terms of Mon Mothma, both Cassian and Kyle have ways to land ability block. Kyle on his basic, but only when it's his turns, not when assist. And Cassian, just one of his specials, you know, the kind of when he throws the grenade, can land ability block, but then his special can copy debuffs from one enemy to the other. So those 2 guys, if you're running Mon Mothma and you do not need those ability blocks, will be useful as well. Finally, as mentioned before, we'll get stealth feat, either Darth Maul or I think CLS Rebels will be a good ways to get this done, because remember, we have to win 14 battles with Rebels, so definitely you can knock that out as well quite easily at the same time. Mini boss in Sector 4, General Veers, Imperial Trooper lineup, with Sears surviving. Again, I'm hoping here that Beskar, Mando, Han and Chewie can do their thing with gone in 30 seconds data this set, so even low gear Seer shouldn't have issues surviving. Again, to be tested. And obviously I'll be updating these teams and I'm playing through when I find out something that works and maybe something that doesn't. And then we got Hokuro Legions, just throwing Imperial Troopers because we have obviously the Imperial Trooper feat anyways in this one. And for the final boss, we are going versus Mother Tal's Night Sister squad. And for the first one, you have to win with Malgus and Sith Assassin surviving. So might as well put some sort of Darth Revan team here together, I guess. And for Hokuro Legions again, try to use Imperial Troopers because obviously we need to defeat 50 enemies with Imperial Troopers in Sector 4. And here we go, we are up to Sector 5. The return of the defense outfit, you know how this one goes. Clone Wars, Chewie lead, plus 4 tanky characters, and you will get all this defense up in a single battle. Even if you lose, it doesn't matter. Then we've got Inquisitors, you have to defeat 50 enemies with Inquisitors, and again, we got full Inquisitor lineup, perfect. Also, one thing to note, if you are doing full Inquisitors, maybe don't include Ninth Sister in there, or Third Sister if you're lucky enough to have her, because we also have no tanks feat here in Sector 5. Otherwise, we'll be cheesing as we've done before with Master Luke Watt or Palpatine Malak, and then, you know, 3 Inquisitors, especially now that we do have Amplify Agony Data Disc. These guys that put out so many debuffs that they'll be very quickly defeating the enemies, even at low gear. As we know from the past, we again have Armor Shred, again, many ways probably to do this, but obviously depending on what you've got. So again, trying to put like some teams without tanks. So you could do Padme, Jon Skywalker, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Commander Ahsoka, they all have Armor Shreds. Or we've done this before where you kind of find a Phoenix team or maybe Kylo Ren Unmasked team, and you can just kind of cheese with CLS Han and Chewie and Sabine just keeps applying Armor Shred on them. So definitely we'll be trying to cheese it again. And then obviously if you're doing your Unaligned Force user feat global, you can include Ben as well as Commander Ahsoka. And they both have Armor Shred, so you can kind of as well double dip there again, not using any tanks. Speaking of not using tanks, here's the no tanks feat, where you have to win 14 battles with no tanks in your squad. Again, going back to Inquisitors without tanks, we've got obviously the Armor Shred team that we just discussed with Unaligned Force users and Rey. And then we also have Tuscans without tanks, none of them are tanks I believe, so we have a full squad of Tuscan that can get something done on Sector 5. Perfect. And then Night Sisters, if you just throw in Zombie, put in Spirit or Talia, you will also have no tanks in there while knocking out the Night Sister Trio global feat. And then as well, no tanks in here for the BT Trip global feat as well. So this is just kind of some ideas here to help you out along the way. Mini-boss in Sector 5 is gonna be Jedi Knight Revan, and we have to have Kyle surviving. Not sure how low gear Kyle will work here, but I'm thinking Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila, and then bring in Traya, because we know that Jedi Revan is programmed to mark Traya, so she can take the mark and hopefully you can quickly get things under control and Kyle will survive. Again, we'll have to wait and see, but obviously with the Gone in 30 Seconds data this set between Basti's buff and Darth Revan's AoE shock, I think you should be able to quickly defeat those guys. And then finally, Hokuro Legions, hopefully General Grievous can get something done here versus Jedi Revan. Again, with Gone in 30 Seconds after this set, General Grievous's AoE is absolutely devastating. And for the final boss in Sector 5, we do have Galactic Legend Rey, and we have to win with Admiral Trench surviving and also no GLs. So I'm hoping that some sort of Trench Separatist squad can beat Rey here in Conquest. Again, we'll have to wait and see, and then you don't have to use GL, so it's like, you know, both feats in one battle. Alright guys, so that's all the feats here in the upcoming 3 runs of Conquest. So hopefully you find this video useful and helpful, just walking through the feats. And then obviously anytime you need a reminder, there'll be a link in the description below to my SWGOH for Life website where you can go and check them out anytime you need a reminder. But until then, have fun, enjoy life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.